Gary? Oh, Gary's on that side. Let's go watch Gary.
You guys probably can't even keep up with demand these days, huh?
No, we have ever since the changeover with the new leadership, we straightened out the product line. You know, we corrected a lot of features that people were asking for, got things back, and then I split the line between the original and the modern series.
Yeah.
And now the folks who want the original series guitars with those features can have it, and then the newer players who want, you know, fresher colors and newer features can have the modern series. Everybody's happy. So it's created a very, very huge backlog for us. We're actively hiring new people all the time, but it takes a long time to train them. So it's a good spot because it's very good for us, but it's a challenge because we do have a lot of back orders. How you doing? Hi, Gary.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Gary is going to show us how he's binding the top of an ES. So he starts with a strip of ABS plastic for the binding.
We step right through here. My blue box.
If you want to catch this, there's a glue trough here. He'll slide that whole piece in, so the whole piece of binding is covered in that glue.
Okay.
And that glue has solvents in there that start to melt the binding.
Oh.
And that helps it get a good glue seam around the body as well as just hold it on.
I see.
So then he'll wrap it around the body. He'll center it up so he has enough length on both sides. And then he's going to hold it in the center and then start tying it. Then he'll wipe off the excess glue on the outside.
So it's kind of like a belt at that stage. It's kind of right at the waist.
Yeah. You tie it at the waist and that holds it all around the butt end of the guitar.
Okay.
And then he starts that process of wrapping it around the butt end. And the sequence of wraps that he's doing is the part that takes a long time, because when you see a rack of these guitars like you do here, that sequence of wraps will all be in that same sequence.
Okay.
And we've figured out over time what that sequence is to get the proper pressure, not only in the waist, but at the ends of the tips of the horn, inside the cutaways, high pressure areas like that.
Yeah.
It's very critical to get the proper tension. And you see he's wearing gloves. The gloves not only keep the glue from getting on his hands, but just as important, if not more so, keep his hands from getting rope burn. Because when you're doing that, there's a lot of force you're using, and that burlap rope will kind of burn your hands.
Okay. So that solvent that kind of degrades the binding, does that help keep it safe, or does that serve another?
It softens the binding, and it softens not only the pliability, but the surface of it. So it literally starts to melt into the grain.
Okay.
So with the pressure of that rope holding that binding in, and that starting to melt, now you're not going to have like a dark or open glue seam.
Okay. Amazing, and it's been done this way for over 100 years?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. Now he's re-wetting the inside, because as you wrap it, at that point it starts to dry a bit.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure it's wet.
Have there been any major changes? I mean, apart from Memphis closing, have there been any major changes to the process in the past several years with the...
Yeah, there's been a lot. You know, it was originally done here for, you know, decades before it moved to Memphis.
Yeah.
It moved back here during the change 2 years ago. And since then, you know, certain things like the top press is the same as it was since the 50s. Binding is the same as it was for over 100 years ago. The glue formula has changed a little bit, only to accelerate the drying. So it used to dry over 8 hours, and now we get it about 3 to 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
Little things like that have changed. And then we've done some other process changes in terms of the NC routing of the controls and things like that that make it more accurate than it was in the past.
That's done with the CNC machine. That's routed out with the
yeah.
rig.
Yeah,
Okay.
CNC ensures that accuracy.
Yeah.
And then we have other clamping processes that we've retooled for gluing in the kerfing. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you so much for showing us that. Yeah, yeah.
And you see how quickly he's done that?
Yeah.
That is one of the most highly skilled tasks we have in the plant.
Wow.
We have other tasks that take longer that aren't as highly skilled, but that's just the nature of those tasks. Like sanding a guitar takes longer, but this is a lot more skilled, right? So Gary and his team just do incredible work. We're very proud of that. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
That was great.
Thank you.